All right, super late again, actually. Very, very, very late. But I wanted to post this to kind of give my yeah, what I have on for today. Not too many trades for today. I got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. I didn't really even trade today. I had a training that I had to go to, but I wanted to just post this as what I'll be looking for today. But I'm going to create a new setup. I just want to stay consistent with these, so I'm going to post this anyway. Starting with GBP AUD. This is going to be super quick. This weekly is having a first low. Actually, not a first low because this is our first low was already taken on the weekly, but we're tapping into this. We're tapping into this here weekly 007 zone. Let me just double check here. Yeah, it's a weekly 007 zone like that, way up here. And actually, hey, that's not right. Oh, okay. No, I was looking at it wrong. Yeah, that's not the, yeah, no, I'm looking at it from here. Yeah, so tapping into the 007 zone here, because this is bullish. All right, we go down to daily. We've already had the first low taken like way back here. And then 4 hour, we already tapped into our demand zone here, 4 hour. And then a 1 hour, we already tapped into our demand zone here. So what we're doing is looking for a low time frame structure shift, like a 1 minute, 5 minute, preferably 5 minute. But we're not going to get that until we get way up here. That's probably going to make its way before, I'm going to go to sleep, but it's probably going to happen before I wake. Next, we got NZD-JPY. NZD-JPY weekly had already formed first low and tapped into our weekly demand zone already. Okay, which is here, as you can see with that wick. Daily have formed, tapped into a daily demand zone, as you can see here. 4 hour taken. First low, 4 hour first low was taken already. As you can see there, it's already taken. Going down here, it had already, technically, this will be our demand zone, like right around here. Yeah, let me see. Let's do our due diligence here. So that'll be our higher high, higher low, broke structure. So we have our break of structure here, right? And so our first demand zone will be right here. Yeah, so we can say technically that is a 4 hour demand zone that's being tapped into with the first low being broken. So we're having all this this market structure here. We have a 1 hour down, bearish movement, but this is a first high that looks like it was already taken, and it's just barely touching into this 007 zone on the 1 hour. So we'll be looking for sales here. I mean, we can take a risk entry here to be totally fair. We definitely take a risk entry here. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, absolutely. Here on the 3 minute. 3 minute, we had a structure shift. We had a first high, and we tapped into this. We tapped into this supply zone here. So we can very much well take a nice little trade right here, which I'm gonna actually do that. I'm gonna take a trade, and I'm gonna put my stop loss like right here, right? And then I'm gonna target where I'm gonna target here on the 1 hour, right there. That's like, let's see, let's target this right here. We can target right down there. I like to do a 1 to 2, so I'll just put it right there. That'll be where we target here, because we'll be aiming for this demand zone first low, because the demand zone was formed, but it wasn't actually mitigated yet. So we can still come down and tap into that demand zone. So that'll be perfect. Let me go ahead and I'll place that trade. That's NZD-JPY. I'll place a trade there. Okay, next we got Euro USD. So Euro USD, we have the weekly higher high. The first low hasn't been taken here on the weekly. So we can definitely push down and then take that the liquidity there. Daily is at higher high as well. But we have a first low that was already tapped into, as you can see right there. Our first low was already tapped into, and then we tapped into a demand zone. So what we're doing is now just looking for a daily first low to be created. CAD JPY, weekly is bull, right? Daily is here at this area of interest, this demand zone. On the daily, we had a first low shift, a sweep of that first low on the daily. So now on the weekly, we are bearish. We would just go ahead and just treat this as if it was going to the upside, because we're at this area of interest. So just with context, what we will do now, and as you can see, if we're going off of context, then we've had a breakup. We have to shift the structure of this daily. Of this 1 hour. So what we're doing is looking for that 1 hour structure shift, which happens right up there. I don't know why I have this. Yeah, nope. Yeah, that was old. So we just look for this structure shift now. See how that plays out? So it's so much easier just to shift from here and then take a move up, because this is going on in alignment with higher time frames, which we're starting to go bullish here on the weekly. And then on the daily, you can see our trend here is up. It's having a little pullback, but it can definitely keep going up too. That's why it's good to look at the context from the higher time frame to the lower. All right, NZD USD, we are weekly bearish. And then that's just that. We're just weekly bearish. We are having some little stuttering candles here, which are not like clear market structure, but that's okay, because daily is showing us that we've had a break, and then we're tapping right back into this wick or supply zone on the daily, right? Daily supply zone tap. And I think that's what I meant here when I put that. I don't know why it says 4 hour. So let me just change that to daily supply zone. All right, there we go. On the 4 hour. It's also a 4 hour supply zone too, but more so daily, because we're tapping in here. So what we'll need to do now is, since we had this first high taken, which looks like we took that liquidity here, we just go down to, because the first 4 hour served its purpose from a contextual perspective. What we now need to do is just look for an actual break here on the 1 hour. So we just look for that 1 hour break here. That's what we look for. I won't put an alert there because I'll be sleeping. This may very much well play out while I am resting. Next, we have USD JPY. USD JPY from top down, 4 hour, weekly 4 hour. Can be taken, hasn't been taken yet, as you can see there. So we can definitely make some consolidation here, sweep, and then move right back down. That's how price likes to do it. Likes to do all of this, then it goes like this, and then it shoots down, right? So we just want to be along with the wave that we're surfing. Daily first high was taken. This was our first high, and you can see it was swept. So you can see the context that's happening. So daily served its purpose, right? And then now we're at the 4 hour. So as we can see, there's a 4 hour shift that's about to occur here. Price is going down, which is going to cause a 4 hour structure shift. This is a 4 hour daily, a 4 hour demand zone that was just disrespected. So we can see what it's doing, right? It's creating a lower low. I mean, this is just cut and dry. It's going to create a lower low, and then we're going to make a shift. And then that's where we're going to start taking our buys up into this weekly first high that has not been taken yet. So that is what's happening. Yeah, and this is the first high that's being created right here. As you can see, we got 2 more hours, so we can't really declare it, but that's exactly what this first high is looking like. All right, next we got USD CNH, USD CNH. Starting with the weekly, right? We didn't really mark this one up, so I'm just going to do this live. Looks like we've already created a lower low, which we have here. So it just means that I'm going to take this off here, which is our AOI. We're not going to use AOIs. We're just going to use the demand or supply zones. So it looks like we're creating a lower low on the weekly time frame, and this is creating a nice little supply zone right up here, but we want to wait for more structure before we start marking up our weekly. Okay, so weekly, we just say weekly, going there just for now, just to keep it nice and simple. Okay, so we're just creating a lower low on that weekly. We'll just delete this, all this information here. Okay, the daily actually did create a supply zone here. So we have a daily supply zone that was created. Okay, so we'll look for from this point, so far as we're looking for a daily first high to be formed. Yeah, and then we'll start looking for we really don't care about anything that's happening on lower time frame until we get a good high time frame picture. If we're trading forex, which I like to intraday trade with my forex. I'm still learning how to day trade. That's something that I'm kind of getting a grasp on. Okay, so yeah, waiting for a first high to happen here on the daily. Maybe to do something like, hold on, that was so sloppy. Let me do that again. So it goes like this. There we go, and then it does like a pull. It can even go even lower, right? And then it comes back up and sweeps. You can do something like this without actually, without actually disrespecting that. I say disrespecting, but just not respecting demand zone, right? Disrespecting the demand zone, and then it shows a structure break, and then we'll look for sells, right? So that's what we'll be looking for in that direction. Next, we got Euro PLN. Euro PLN currently is another one that I'm just going to do live here. Okay, so currently we had a structure shift. I'm going to take away this AOI. We had a structure shift here. You can see that we created a weekly demand zone, right? We got a weekly demand zone. That's cool. Oops, hold on. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. So we got weekly demand zone. You can see we created a first low here. We got a nice little first. Oh yeah, that's my first low right there. That was actually already taken too. Yeah, because if you see, we closed down here, then we opened here. We moved down and took that first low, and then we went up here and closed. So that was our first low taken already. Okay, so we'll just write that weekly first low taken already. Okay, and then we'll also put that the demand zone, weekly demand zone, unmitigated. Mitigated, I think I spelled that right, because it isn't mitigated, so we can definitely come right back down and touch this demand zone and use that as a trampoline, or we may just take off from here. So we just get some more context here. Let me take this all off here. I like to kind of do this fresh, do this live, right? Okay, let's take this off. All right, so now what we have here is we have a daily, daily bullish push up. We have a first low here. Okay, the daily first low. Where is it? I'll just put it here. There we go. And then we have a demand zone here, but this is the thing. This is the catch. This has actually been already mitigated. This demand zone has already been mitigated. Where is it? Demand zone, daily demand zone. Yeah. This daily demand zone has already been mitigated, right? So we're just going to take that off. It's already been mitigated. So let's just go ahead and add this here. Daily first low taken. Daily demand zone mitigated. Okay. So it's done its job. We've done our job there on the daily. Let's move down to the 4 hour and see where we're at here. All right, well, 4 hour is bearish right now, so hold on, let me double check. Is it mitigated? Oh yeah, no. That's what I meant to do. See, so I'm glad I take my notes, because sometimes not taken. Okay, so the daily first low is not taken, but the demand zone is mitigated. So we can still come back down and take this liquidity from this demand zone and then rock it up. So right now we just want to see in context, are we close enough for that to happen? Absolutely. We can definitely see what's happening right now. Could be simply a first high forming on the first out in the 4 hour. We could take that and then we could just touch that demand zone and then dip up to the top. So what we're going to do is we're just going to wait for this 4 hour, if so, 4 hour demand zone or 4 hour first high form to form. Waiting for 4 hour first high to form, or closure, or form, to form, I just say to form, right? And or 4 hour structure shift, SOS, right? So we're gonna see it do that, or I mean, if we go past this point, we'll just put a line here. If we go past this, which would be our 4 hour, make that blue. If we go past this, which would be our 4 hour structure shift, then guess what? We'll be pretty close to these higher highs, so I wouldn't look to take that trade. So yeah, I'm just going to take off the 4 hour structure shift because I'm not going to even look for that. If we're up that high, then I'll be looking for more structure to occur. All right, second to last, we got weekly. I think this one, yeah, this one here is a little bit more designed out, or more kind of structured here. All right, so let me just take this off here. All right. Okay, so yeah, this will be our first high right here. This will be my demand, my supply zone. So for the weekly, okay, the weekly, let's take that off. Let's take that off. Let's take that off. Let's take that off. All right. So this will be my weekly supply zone. All right. So I'm going to lower there. Yes, that's the weekly supply zone. Okay, we got another weekly supply zone. Okay. You know what? I'm not going to count that. I'm going to count this one as a supply zone, but I count this as just structure going down. Yeah. This is my first high right here, depending on if this closes down here, but we'll just put that the weekly first high forming. Weekly first high is forming. Kind of looks like we already tapped into this here. Yeah, we already tapped into it. Weekly first high taken for forming, first high forming. Weekly supply zone tapped. Our we just mitigated. It's already been tapped into. The daily here. On the daily, we can see a clear. This is the first high right here. This is our daily first high. Boom, just like that. Daily first high. Looks like the first high was taken. Daily first high taken into weekly, right? Okay, so it's taken already. Okay, but it hasn't tapped into. Oh yeah, no, but it tapped into this. It tapped into a daily supply zone. Yeah, so it can just keep going from here. Taking to a daily supply zone. It's into a daily supply zone. Yeah, so this can be the move right there. I mean, it can continue back up, but they're both mitigated now, so we can definitely, doesn't make sense for it to run back up unless its price is moving up now. And as you can see, we have a 4 hour now. We have a 4 hour supply zone up here. Call this right. It's our 4 hour supply zone. All right, so we start. No, that's not a first high. So we're just waiting for a first high, 4 hour first high to form. Yeah, so this, I mean, I already had this marked up pretty much, just need to be clear All right, last but not least, we got USD CAD. So USD CAD, yeah, we're gonna have to mark this one up. This one is needs to be marked up. It was pretty sloppy. So the first, so 4 hour, as you can see, I'm gonna take away this area of interest. We're creating a first high. So we're creating a first high, forming, let's say forming, first high, weekly, supply zone, unmitigated. So we can definitely tap into this here after our first high formation. As you can see, we're having all the context that shows us that we're maybe headed up to the upside. Looks like we're creating a daily, first low, forming. Okay, so we're just gonna wait for that daily. So if this were to close here, I would say that this is the first high, but it can do anything, right? Because this is from Tuesday. Now this is for Wednesday. So we just want to wait for that closure, and then we'll potentially have that first low there on the daily, and then this will be our one of the areas of interest. We have a demand zone here at the daily. Okay, we have a daily demand zone. All right, and so we can always use this, the 007 or the demand zone, as a trampoline to make it back up to this supply zone, right? Yeah, so that's the context. So those are my trades for the week. I know we went through a lot, but it's a lot less than I had before. I'm just refining the strategy. So this is what I'm rocking with. All right, I know it's late, but better late than never. Peace. Indifference is the difference. Let's go.